So today we're going through this wonderful document I found called The 50 Fruits of Pride. Pride is something which always separates people. So if you want to connect better with people, which is largely what this channel has become, we need to eliminate as much pride as possible. And pride is something which is kind of hard to define, and it's also hard to see in ourselves. So as we go through this list, we're gonna start to piece together a definition of what pride looks like, how it manifests in our lives. I haven't even read this, you guys. Like literally, we're both gonna discover this at the same time right now. Sometimes the best thing for us is to be convicted. And by convicted, what I mean is things that make you, that prick your heart and be like, oh, I do that, I shouldn't be doing that, you know? That's not good. This is some very convicting stuff. Let's take a look. I feel special or superior because of what I have or do. I'm superior because of my house, my neighborhood, my physical giftings, my intellect or education, my position or job, my job title, my car, my salary, my looks. Guys, no one is superior to anyone else because of any of those things. We are called to not treat anyone with discrimination, we're called to love everyone equally, actually. Here's another. I want people to be impressed with me. I like to make my accomplishments known. Dang, we need to work on that. Another one. I am not very excited about seeing or making others successful. Ouch. I tend to feel envious, jealous, or critical towards those who are doing well or being honored. It's like, why did they get all the glory? It should be me up there. It's like, dude, I've struggled with envy tremendously. This is something to be aware of, that is, to have envy in your heart is not good. And God has helped me a lot with overcoming envy. Like, it's so much, actually. I have a know-it-all attitude. I am impressed by my own knowledge. I feel like there isn't much I can learn from people, especially those less mature than me. Ooh, I felt this recently. When I was around some younger people recently, and I kind of like felt a little bit like that. I think highly of myself. In relation to others, I typically see myself as more mature and more gifted. I don't consider myself average or ordinary. Oh man, that last part hit me. There have definitely been times I've not considered myself. I was like, I don't consider myself average. I'm special. You know, like, and I would even kind of look down on people who called themselves average. I mean, it's terrible. This is pride at work. It's so sneaky, so sneaky. Pride is really the opposite of humility. We need to be more going towards humility and away from pride. Because again, pride separates you. Humility connects people together. True facts. I often feel insecure. I don't want to try new things or step out into uncomfortable situations because I'm afraid I'll fail or look foolish. I am easily embarrassed. Interesting. I am overly self-conscious. I tend to replay in my mind how I did, what I said, how I am coming across to others, etc. I am very concerned about what people think of me. Dang, dude. Oh, man. Oh, I know I'm guilty of that one. We're going to talk later about what the solutions are to this. I find myself lying to preserve my reputation. I find myself hiding the truth about myself, especially about sins, weaknesses, etc. I don't want people to know who I really am. Man, that shame when you're hiding something that you don't want people to know that you're dealing with that, because it's like so bad that, gosh, they can't know that about me. Find myself lying to preserve my reputation. Guilty, guilty, guilty. Or just bending the truth, right? Where you're just like, oh, I'm doing good. I'm not struggling with this or that you actually are. I like to talk, especially about myself or persons or things I'm involved with. I would rather speak than listen. Ooh, I know this is getting some people, dude. Me too. But man, I've talked about this before on the channel, that it's so important to be slow to speak and quick to listen. Really want to be, especially just to make the other person feel heard. If you want to be more liked, rule number one is you got to be a good listener. It's always a good thing to constantly remind ourselves to be putting the focus on them and listening to them in conversation. 29, I interrupt people regularly. I don't let people finish what they are saying. If this is y'all, dude, and I'm guilty of interrupting too, but like this can happen. Just it's not good to interrupt. It's just not good. Gotta let people really finish. Unless someone's going on and on and on, there's a point at which you kind of have to like steer the conversation back. But generally, people interrupt too much, I notice. I feel compelled to stop people when they start to share something with me I already know. You ever had someone like start talking to you about something and sharing with you some fact that you like just learned this fact online or something, and you're like, He's like, oh yeah, well, yeah, I already knew that actually. And like you feel compelled to tell them that you already knew. There's actually, the answer here is you don't need to tell them that you already knew that already. You just make them feel that you're learning it for the first time. Oh, okay. That's the better thing to do. This isn't for every single context. Like sometimes you can kind of gently like, I heard about that somewhere, you know. There's a gentle way to do it. Number 22 is, I didn't even know this was connected to pride. It says, I often feel ungrateful. I tend to grumble about what I don't have in life. Moving towards gratitude is so important, and being thankful to the universe or God for what you have is so important. To be in that mindset of focusing on what we do have. When you're in pride, you're not feeling grateful. You're worried about, you're kind of grumbling about what you don't have. Like you feel like you deserve more or something. Moving away from pride is being like, I'm so thankful. I'm honestly been thankful just to be alive every day that I've been waking up lately. Like I've been given another day. Hallelujah. Like I've been so grateful waking up. It's been great. It's been an amazing feeling just to be grateful to at least exist still here. Like, oh my gosh. Number 19, I tend to give myself credit for who I am and what I accomplish. I only occasionally think about or recognize that all that I am comes from God, or all that I have comes from God. True. When we achieve something, we tend to give ourselves credit first. It's not all you. There's a lot of gifts that have come from God, basically, or if you want to say it like your environment and your upbringing and the things that have been given to you that are helping you, and you're standing on the shoulders of so many giants to do what you're doing. So we cannot give credit to ourselves for what we have done. Like the only reason I'm able to do this right here is because of the grace and gifts that have been given to me. I'm only doing a small part, but I'm standing on a huge mountaintop that's been placed under me that I didn't work for at all. Okay, number 21, I feel deserving. I think I deserve what I have. In fact, I think I ought to have more, considering how well I have lived or in light of all I've done. Man, that speaks of entitlement right there. Whew. I am selfishly ambitious. I really want to get ahead. I like having a position or title. I far prefer leading to following. Striving, being ambitious for our own glory is not the way to a happy life. That I can tell you 100%. And I've lived through it. I have absolutely been there for probably most of my life until recently. Life is not about glorifying ourselves. It really, really is so much happier and less stressful to glorify something that's greater than yourself. Like, you know, it's like that mode. I was in that mode for years of trying to like, I want to become, you know, powerful. I want to prop myself up and become, you know, someone of importance, you know, like, and like in a sense, I still try to be successful, like doing things like this channel. But the goal now at least is more focused on trying to help people through that. And I have to constantly remind myself that it's not to try to prop myself up. Number 15, I am self-serving. When asked to do something, I find myself asking, how will doing this help me? Or will I be inconvenienced if I do this? That's human nature 101. That's basically just how I feel most people think. We're wired that way, to think only and put ourselves first and think about ourselves first. But I can tell you one thing. That is not the way to happiness, really. Because the more you focus on me, myself, and my problems, the more miserable you are. Truly happy people are focused on others. Their attention is outwardly directed on how we can help them deal with their problems. This is such a core truth. The more we focus on ourselves, the more unhappy we tend to be. I tend to be self-righteous. This is a big one. I regularly focus on the sins of others. If you're, doing really well, if you're behaving really well, having this attitude of like, I'm holier, I'm more righteous than them, that is exactly the type of mindset that Jesus was pushing against so hard and kind of calling them out. Like, what are you hypocrites? What are you doing? Like, you call yourself religious, but then you're going and judging other people. Like, bro, that's not love. That's just pride. Okay, number 23 is, I find myself wallowing in self-pity. Ooh, I did a video about this, about victim mentality, and like a lot of it is about self-pity, like woe is me, like it's not fair, it's their fault that I'm in this situation right now. Poor me. This is not the way. I'm gonna bring it back for round 2. I'm gonna say it again. You guys, self-pity is not the way to happiness at all, and therefore not the way to connecting with people. I seldom recognize or sympathize with, the troubles that are going on with other people because I feel I have it worse than they do. It's wrapped in with like the envy, right? Like you see these people and like, well, they're, rich or they're married. They can't possibly understand what I'm going through. That sort of attitude of like, they have it so much better than me. There's no way they could understand, like I have it so much worse. That is not, and I'm sure you understand that that's not leading to a happy existence. Part of the remedy to that is gratitude. Wow, that's convicting for sure. We're about halfway through at this point. 39, I am easily angered and offended. I don't like being crossed or disagreed with. I find myself thinking, I can't believe they did that to me. I often feel wronged. I can't believe they would do that. There's something about that is just very prideful. It's like, how could you say something like that? That's a very unattractive trait, to be easily offended. I can tell you, a lot of times you can just let things roll off, not get so offended about that, especially if they meant well. If they weren't actively trying to hurt you or criticize you in a mean way or anything like that, it's best to let it roll off. If their heart was not in the right place and they did something actually nasty, then there's a place to kind of tell them in a kind way that didn't make me feel very good. Like, you should not do that. And there's an opportunity for you to distance yourself from that person. I'm still figuring that one out, what to do. But oh my goodness. I find it hard to admit it when I don't know something. When someone asks me something I don't know, I will make up an answer rather than admit that I don't know. And oh man, and isn't that easy to detect? You can always tell when someone's BSing, right? That they're making something up just to seem like they know what they're talking about. It's like, you don't know, do you? Actually, like, don't do that. This is the one. It says, I listen to teaching with other people in mind. Okay, I constantly think of those folks who need to hear this teaching and wish they were here. You ever been in a teaching and then you ever been listening to a message and you're like, man, I wish so-and-so was here. They need to hear this. They need to hear this. It's like, you're probably in a know-it-all prideful attitude because you're thinking that, oh, well, I already know this. I'm too good for this. I know it already. Like, it's so easy to slip into these prideful attitudes, I'm telling you. Number 34 says, I'm not very open to input. I don't pursue correction in my life. I tend to be unteachable and slow to repent when corrected. I don't really see correction as a positive thing. It's like how you respond to correction really matters. The wise person is someone who welcomes correction and kind of uses it and really listens and allows it to change their behavior. They learn from it. Whereas the fool is someone who dismisses correction and says, like, I already know it. It says, I have a hard time admitting that I am wrong. It's hard for me to ask for forgiveness. It's hard for me to confess my wrongdoings. Dang. So basically, the right thing to do here is always to admit that you're wrong when you are. When you admit that you're wrong, it's kind of like a surrender. It's just like, all right, I was wrong. That's it. You're just wrong, and it feels a certain way when you admit like you're wrong, but you ultimately feel a lot better after. It humbles you to admit that you're wrong. It's a really good feeling, actually. 38. When corrected, I become contentious and argumentative. I don't take people's observations seriously. I minimize and make excuses or give explanations. You get defensive. It's like, well, actually, I do it this way because it's like, no, that's not true. I do it this way because such and such. The right move is to actually evaluate it and determine whether you think could you possibly be wrong in that situation, and then to admit that you are wrong and use that correction wisely, which is to learn from it. I have a hard time listening to ordinary people. I listen better to those I respect or people I want to leave with a good impression. We're really called to treat everyone with equal respect and love, not just people that can do something for us or that we care about making a good impression on or that we respect, Got to show everyone the same level of respect, which is high. Number 41, I am self-willed and stubborn. I have a hard time cooperating with others. I really prefer my own way and often insist on getting it. It's like I want to have things my way. I'm a very strong-willed and stubborn person sometimes, but we need a compromise sometimes. Apparently, this is also pride. 43, I'm going to paraphrase this. It says, I think I can take care of myself. This is the idea is like, I don't need anyone's help. I can do it myself. Or I would add on to this that like, I understand how it works. I can figure out how life works or how the universe works on my own. I don't need to be listening to their teachings or what other people are saying. Like, this is really core to the essence of pride, is this self-reliance of thinking that you can do it all on your own and that you know it all. And this is really what holds so many people back from achieving real wisdom. One of the big turning points for me was to let go of that attitude of thinking that I could figure out how to do life on my own and recognizing that other people have already figured this out. There's a lot of wisdom in the Bible that's like 2,000 years old, at least, that is just like very still relevant today. It makes so much sense. I spent most of my life thinking that I could figure out how to do life, but like people have already kind of understood this and have gone through life and have distilled all that wisdom down. And like, you cannot go through thinking that you just know everything your first time through, when other people have gone through the exact same struggles over and over again, and they've figured out certain truths of how to live life that are better ways to live. That's just my impression of reading the Bible in the year 2025. There's so much truth in there that's just so relevant still today. And like, what better definition of truth can you ask for than something that resonates through thousands of years of human history and still makes sense to abide in today? It's really powerful stuff. Number 45, I lack respect for other people. I don't think very highly of most people. I have a hard time encouraging and honoring others unless they really do something great. It's true. A lot of us have a hard time encouraging and honoring others when really we're constantly should be encouraging. It's like we're really called to build others up with our words. 44 says, I am unsubmissive. I don't like being under the authority of another person. Guilty. I'm guilty of that. I don't look up to people and I like to be in charge. Other people may need leaders, but I don't. It's important that my voice is heard. I'm definitely guilty of not liking to be told what to do. 46, I am a slanderer. I find myself either giving or receiving evil reports about others. It's like, are you bad-mouthing people behind their back? Are you gossiping about people? 48, I like to demean or put others down. I often think people need to be adjusted and put in their place. Often, other people need to be more humble and have a sober assessment of themselves. Oh, I'm so glad it said this one, because like, the more pride that you have, the less tolerant you are of pride in others. It says, I think other people need to be more humble and have a sober assessment of themselves. So it's like the more prideful you are, you think that you're less tolerant of other people being prideful, and like they need to be more humble. But it's like, no, it's you actually that needs to be more humble if you're thinking that way. I know some people that like to demean and put others down. This is just, I'm telling you this for your protection. It's like if someone likes to demean you or put you down, that means that something is going wrong with their heart, and we need to be sympathetic towards them. 49, I tend to be critical of others. I find myself feeling or talking negatively about people. I subtly feel better about myself when I see how bad someone else is. A lot of times people will they'll want to put someone down to feel better about themselves. That is pride at work. I'm sorry to say. Or I would even add to this to connect it with that other point that I demean people to make myself feel better about myself. Oh, this is a great one to end it on. Okay, it says, I really appreciate that someone put this whole list of fruits of pride together, or I really appreciate that someone's making a video about this, fruits of pride, but I think I'm pretty humble already. Oh, I love that. It's like, it says, however, I don't really need this because I'm pretty humble already. It's like, dude, you're missing the point. You're missing the point. This is supposed to make us aware of our pride. This has been really fun to go through this. I'm guilty of so many of these. I'm gonna have to go through and really meditate on these. By going through this list and really thinking about these, obviously you may know what I'm gonna say here. Like, it's so much easier to be humble when you know God, because nothing can be greater and more infinite and expansive and more powerful than God, right? So it's like we are just so humble, so small in comparison, and it's like easier to be humble in the light of something that big and to know that we're so small and so not in control. But pride, as you can see, is like the opposite of that humility. It's like propping yourself up, thinking that you're so great, or you're right, or you know everything, or you can do it yourself, or you're not dependent on anyone else. That's pride. And pride really, it separates you from other people and other people from you. And that's why it's a dangerous thing for relationships and can very much harm relationships that exist and can prevent you from finding future relationships. So I cannot stress this enough that we need to meditate on some of these and really be aware. It starts with just being aware. Am I doing these things? And to just have more humility, because that is the thing that will connect you to people much more. So thank you very much for listening. I'd love to hear your thoughts. This was convicting, folks. Yeah, I will see you all next time. Peace out. Bye.